as a husband, he had beautiful nicknames for his wives. He would call them something that they would love. He would call them a nice name, something, make sure that they're happy. Subhanallah. And it was vice versa. It was vice versa. So sometimes the women say, the Prophet ﷺ had a nickname for his wives. Why don't you have a nickname for me? My dear sister, why don't you have a nickname for your husband too? Call him something nice. He will appreciate. Yes, it's not wrong. Okay, one might argue, well, this is not compulsory. Nobody is saying it's compulsory. We're talking of how he did it. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But you'll get a reward of a sunnah if your intention is correct. So that was the Prophet ﷺ. I tell you one other thing. He used to feed his wife with his own hands. With his own hands. So take the morsel and feed, a feeding. Today we would say, no, your hands are dirty. Allahu Akbar. So number two is, he said it's an act of charity to feed your wife. An act of charity. So yes, to bring along the food and to feed the family is definitely also an act of charity. It's a duty. Something over and above that is to take a moment to put a hand, romantically feed them. There. Similarly, what he did with Aisha radiallahu anha, he would drink from the same part of the utensil that she drank from, looking for the place. He would drink it and he would make sure she blushed as a result. I'm shy. Subhanallah. You become shy because you're full of love. And you know what? You're full of respect at the same time. Amazing. Subhanallah. And we have something very interesting. Even when they had the food that she would bite into, he would look for the place she bit and he would bite, meaning they shared their food. People might argue, well, there is a virus at the moment and there is this and that. My brother, my sister, the sunnah is the sunnah. Subhanallah. That's your spouse. You live with your spouse. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. I hope that yes, our mouths are kept clean, because sometimes we get complaints to say, oh, this guy's mouth is smelling and he doesn't keep clean. The Prophet ﷺ used to siwak 5 times a day. He used to clean his teeth 5 times a day and more sometimes, every salah. And he used to say, لولا أن أشق على أمتي لأمرتهم بالسواك عند كل صلاة. If it was not going to be made difficult for my ummah, I would have asked them to clean their teeth for every salah with a miswak. Subhanallah, subhanallah. That's why you see people who want to fulfill that sunnah, they have a siwak in the pocket just before they start salah. They clean their teeth so that they can start off that salah with a beautiful teeth and clean mouth. Cleaning the mouth is a very, very important point that we need to make sure. Being clean in your marital home is something very important. Be it your outward cleanliness, your inward cleanliness, the removal of the pubic hairs, the maintaining of your private parts and your areas. Don't be ashamed to talk about it, because it is a sunnah to maintain that cleanliness. Do you know that one could actually ask for a divorce or to get divorced if the husband was unclean, or vice versa? If they're unclean, to what level is that uncleanliness? If they're really beyond what Allah has asked and required, then indeed, this person is filthy. They don't even clean themselves. How do you expect someone to live with them in nikah, to be intimate with them? The Prophet ﷺ was so clean and smart, and so were all those whom we know about. There was no complaint amongst them ever. And he taught us, you must remove the pubic hair, you must do this, you must clean thoroughly when you've used the loo, and so on. That's part of Islam, one of the first things you learn. Why should we be ashamed to mention this? So as a husband, maintain the cleanliness. Like we would like our wives to dress for us, we need to dress for our wives as well. We need to make sure we are presentable. When they look at us, they feel, wow, that's my man. That is my man, subhanallah. Look at how smart he is. Look at how well kept he is. Look at how well groomed he is, and so on. MashaAllah, my man. Sometimes people are ashamed to associate with us simply because we look like people who just couldn't care. We couldn't be bothered. So the Prophet ﷺ, these are teachings people don't normally mention. Here we are talking about them.